everyone, Karen here, and today I have a secret message card for you. Now, if you haven't seen this card before, it's a gatefold card, and when you open it up, you'll see that there's different sections here. Now, normally you would do all these the same color, but this is the template I keep to remember which size to make everything. But when you push these two sides together, like this, it opens up kind of like a Jacob's ladder to reveal another message on the inside. Now let me close this and open it up and flip it over to the back, and you'll see there's no X's here. So you can't see it until you open it like this. Now to make this card, you're going to start off with a regular gatefold card, which is a 7 by 10, and we're going to score that at 2.5, 5, and 7.5, and we'll do that in a second. And you'll want two pieces of 2.5 by 7, the same color as your card base. Alright, now to decorate this card, I am going to be using the Crafter's Companion Sprig of Holly from a couple years ago. And this was a panel, and it fits on the gatefold just right to make this. So we'll have that. I have this little embossing folder that was in an advent calendar. And then I have this stamp set from Gina K. This is called Make It Move Mini. And this is a great little set because it has all kinds of arrows and open the flap, press here, push the button, turn, fun inside, look inside, shake me, you light me up, push, spin, anything that you might need for a card. The little stamps are on here. Alright, now to decorate the card, let's go over some of these papers we have. Now this might vary depending on how you're going to decorate your card, but this is how I'm going to do mine. So I need 4 4.25 by 6 3/4. I have 2 in this gold, and this is the linen card from the Western collection. And I'm going to layer that with this green, and that's how I'm going to end up with these panels here. You're going to want 8 1 3/4 by 2 1/4, and I have 4 that are gold. It's the same linen card, and I have 4 that were green that I have embossed. Now, for the main message here, you're going to want 2 4 1/4 by 2 1/4, and 2 4.5 by 2.5. That these are going to be layered together, and this is going to be stamped on. Now, I've already gone and stamped mine. Now, you are going to need 2 of these, one for this part, and then one when you open your secret message. So this one is all ready to go and cut in half, and I'll show you how I did that. Alright, so let me move this to the side, and let's start with the card base. Alright, so I'm going to take the paper that is 10 by 7, and we are going to score at 2.5, at 5, and at 7.5. Let me move this out of the way. Now we're going to fold. Fold here, fold here. Get it all nice and going. Fold the middle one here. Just like that. Alright, so now we have this paper here that is scored. Now what I want to do is I need to mark 2 inches down. Now if you have a trimmer, you can do it with a trimmer, but I'm going to show you how to do it manually. So we're going to mark 2 inches here, 2 inches from the bottom. So we're marking at 2 and at 5. I'm going to grab my T-rule so I can draw a straight line. And I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to draw a line to the score line. And I'm going to come down here and draw a line to the score line. I'm going to take my scissors, and I'm going to cut to that score line. just like that. I'm going to erase any pencil line that's left here. All right, so now we have our base that's been cut. And we're going to take our two 7 by 2.5s and we're going to weave them in between here to get our card to open properly. Now, let me show you on my template here. And you'll see why I did it in 2 different colors. So, the one piece is going to go under the first one, over the second one, and then under again. And the other one is going to be the opposite. So you're going to go over, under, and then over, like that. And that allows the Jacob's ladder to work, just like that. Okay? Because I know when I do it with the white on white, it's going to be harder to see. So I'm going under and over. And then the this one goes the opposite, so we're going to go in from the back, over the middle, and out the back. Now sometimes you will have to trim these a little bit to get your card to function, but this looks pretty good. So let's see. And we're good. Check it a couple times, make sure nothing has to be trimmed. I think we're good. Alright, so now I'm going to lay this flat and just put a few more creases in this. Make sure it's going to lay nice and flat. There we go. Alright, so now we have the gatefold. We open it up, and we open it here, and here's this. Alright, so that is it for the base. The rest is all decoration. So this is going to go on this side here. And now let's make the other panel so you can see exactly what I did. Alright, let me bring in a piece of scrap paper. So the first thing I'm going to do is take the Midas ink bronze. And I am going to ink this over the top here. Now I'm going to do this very, very lightly because I only want to just kind of catch the raised edges here of the linen card. I just want to put a little texture here so it doesn't look so flat. Because this card doesn't have any foam or anything in it, so you really have to add a little bit of texture with some color. Alright, that looks about right. Alright, that's all we're going to do to that. Now, this piece here is the die, Sprig of Holly. Now, I've already die cut it, but I need to do a little bit more to it. So here's the top. We're going to put this on here, get it back into place. I'm going to tape this down, and I'm going to emboss it. Because see, you have all these pieces here that didn't cut out. I want to emboss all that. Alright, so here's my embossing mat. Make sure that's on there, locked in place. Put this on here. Cover it with half of my folder. And I'm going to run this through my MIDI. Alright, let me bring this back over here. And now you can see it's all embossed. Let's put this to the side. So the next thing I want to do, I'll put this back in here again. I'll leave this in here. There we go. Back in place. I'm going to bring in some red ink. And this needs to be pigment ink because I need it to cover the green here. So I'm going to hold this down firm, and I'm going to ink over this green. And because it's pigment ink, it will cover it. Go across here. on this side. Across the bottom. Just like that. Now the next thing I want to do is color in these berries. So these berries are going to be red, and this is a metallic marker. It is the red garnet, and we're going to color this in. And these are the embossed berries that are on here. All right, and I also want to do the bow. All right, all the pieces to the bow. And I'm going to bring in the green citrine for the holly leaves. And I'm just going to go over all the green. Just like this. You want to be a little gentle with this, because these metal points will tear up your nib a little bit. All right. Finish this up. One last. And I think I got them all. All right, so now we'll lift this up. Now, this is what we have. And see, by going around the die, you end up with this little tiny border here, which is really nice. All right, so the next thing we need to do is I need to color in a little bit more of this red up here, just to make it look more like a bow. I don't want any of this green showing. And I'm going to go on this side. And I want to bring that right up to the little green edge I have here. And I'm going to connect that one. And then the center part where they only had a little circle for the knot, I am just going to color this whole piece in here. There we go. Like that. Right, so now I'm going to bring in some Lucky Clover. Now this is much lighter than I thought I was going to use. I started off with a much darker green and I didn't like the way it came out. So I ended up using the Lucky Green, which is really a light color. Here, I'll show you what I mean. That is very bright, but it did what I wanted it to do. So I'm going to take it and I'm just going to shade a little bit of these holly leaves. Just give them a little color. Just like this. Because when you're going over colored paper, you know, your dye inks do look different. And I was just really surprised that this was the color I really wanted. Okay. going to do the stem here because that seems a little bright to me and it looks undone. So I'm just going to make the stem here a little darker. I may even take a little bronze and just make it slightly darker than the rest, just so it looks like a stem and it's not the same color as the leaves. Maybe put a little more over here, just for a little something. There we go. Just like that. All right, now, the next thing I want to do, I want to bring in the sparkle pen. Get this going. There we go. And I'm going to go over the bow. Alright, do the little berries, and I am going to go along a little bit in the middle of these holly leaves just to give them a little something. Just a little something here. There we go. So now let's look at it, make sure they look the same. And I think that will be good once it's dry. Alright, so I'm going to put some glue on the back of this. Across here. Across the leaves. Make sure you get some on the stems. Yeah, so you don't have to just put this in the middle of a panel on a card. You can use it as a topper. You know, there's nothing saying you couldn't take a regular 5x7 card and just use this as a topper on it like that. Now, these don't have to be just a panel. And we'll put this down here. I do need to put some glue under the stem, else that will be floppy. Alright, and I know, as I rub my hand over this to press it down, I know I'm going to spread the glitter pen a little bit, and that's fine, because the red will have a slight little glitter to it. Alright, now let me wipe off my glittery hands. Let's move this to the side for a minute. Bring in our card base. Let me turn these right side up. Make sure we're putting them in the right direction. And one will go on one side and one will go on the other. That down. Now when you cut these out, if you want to, the card underneath, you can take just a little bit of a hair off the edge, and that way you'll make sure you don't have it hanging over the card on top when you glue them together. Right, this one will come over here. You want to make sure they're straight and even. Alright, there is the front. So now we're going to open the card and start working on the inside here. Alright, so the pieces in here, I have 4 of the 1 3/4 by 2 1/4. And I have already gone around these 3 with the bronze ink. And all I did was take the ink and dab it like this. a little more on that one, and like that. That's it. Put a little more on this one. A little more on this one. And like that. There we go. Now they all look the same. Alright, now these will get glued to these 2-inch sections here. So let me make sure my card is nice and straight here. And we'll start gluing these on. And once you get these panels on, it will keep your card from slipping. Because if you cut it too loose, your papers can slide a little bit. But once you get a few layers on here, it won't slide. Now you want to make sure these two are even. That is not even. Let's see. Here we go. And I'm going to flip this upside down, put the top ones on, just so it's closer to me. And this one will go up here. Like that. Okay. Now on these 4 pieces here, I cut out a holly that I've had for quite a while. It's Crafter's Companion. I want to say might have been in an advent calendar. I'm not sure where it came from. But I have 3 of these already. The 4th one I'm going to do right now. So let me grab my scrap again. Push that up out of the way. So I'm going to place this back into the die. Now of course you would do this all in one step. I just wanted to get everything cut ahead of time. So let's get it back in here. And we're going to emboss this little piece. Alright, so I have my embossing mat and my shim. And I'm going to put this down here. I'm going to tape this down. And I'll run this through my machine. I'll take half my folder, put it over the top. And here we go. Alright. So now we have this. So now I want to ink this one up a little bit. So let's put that back in here. I'm going to take the green, like I did with the front, and I'm going to color where it's embossed, just like that. I'm going to take the red garnet again and color the berries. And then take the sparkle pen and go over the middle. There you go. And done. All right, let me bring this back in. I'm determined not to get ink all over everything. Now these I'm just going to glue on here. And I'm going to glue them kind of pointing in. And remember, depending on what stamps and dies you use to decorate it, you know, your squares are going to be different. You know, you could put balloons on here for happy birthday, bells and rings for a wedding card. This would be a fun, you know, gender reveal card. If someone couldn't be at the gender reveal and you wanted to tell them in kind of a fun way, you absolutely could put, if it's a boy or a girl, in the center. That would be fun. And last one right here. There we go. So this is a 4.5 by 2.5, which makes this a 4 1/4 by 2 1/4. This is going to get glued on here. So let's jazz this up a little bit first. So I'm thinking I'm going to put red on this. A little red. Let's see. Yeah, that'll be fine on here. A little red. That in, smear it around a little bit. There we go. Get that off my hands. And we'll glue this together. Now you're going to make 2 of these. The other one I already have made. Once again, this was 4 1/4 by 2 1/4, going on the 4.5 by 2.5. And this will just go in the middle. Like that. Now I'm going to let that dry for a second. Because once it grabs, I'm going to cut it in half. And the reason why I did it this way was for a couple reasons. Number one is you wanted to make sure everything was going to line up and you wanted half the message on each side. The other reason is this way I avoided having to cut this by 1/8. Because I know this is the 4.5, so I can go 2 1/4, cut the whole thing down the middle, and not worry about it being 1/8 on the white piece of paper. And it will all line up, and life is a lot easier that way. All right. So here's my guillotine. Now this was 4 1/2. So half of 4 1/2 is 2 1/4. So I'm going to come to 2 1/4. And I'm going to bravely slice it down the middle. So now we'll bring this back in. This will go on here. And just so we know we have everything all lined up. That looks about right. Let's see. That looks about right. So before this grabs, I'm going to fold it in half and make sure I'm flush there and it's not hanging over. Alright, now I'm going to take the other side. More glue. And I'm going to match it up like that. I'll fold it over again, make sure I'm flush. And that slid a little bit, so let me just slide it back. Alright, I'm going to hold it there for a second. Make sure we're flush. There you go. Just like that. So now, we close the card, we open it up. Now we can do the inside. Alright, so here again, we have 4 squares. So I'm going to put green here, and Let me grab the embossing folder. It's this little embossing folder that was in an advent calendar. So I'm going to take my green paper, put it in here. Alright, now this is a 2D folder, so I'm going to put an extra piece of scrap on top of the shim, like this, just so I get a good emboss. Alright, here we go. Bring my scrap back in again. And what I did is here, I went back to the Lucky Clover, and I just rubbed it over the top gently. This is why you want a really good emboss, because if you do this without having a really good emboss, you're going to end up streaking the paper. Alright. So I'm going to edge the paper. And when it dries, it will look like this. Make sure they're all edged. There we go. These will go in the four corners. Now this one was made just like I did the one on the front of the card. And it's going to go here. Because the dimensions for both pieces are exactly the same. We're just changing the message on the inside. So let's glue these down. And this one will go here. This one will go here, down in the bottom right. Now this time around, I decided to emboss it and color over the embossing instead of putting another embellishment over the top, just to make it look different. But you absolutely could do the same for both pieces if you wanted to. You don't have to do them all different. Alright, so there's that one. And one more. This one will come here. And this one will go on this side. Now this measurement you're looking at here is just this side of the paper here. So ignore that. Alright, so this will go here. In the middle. And I fold that closed, make sure I'm not overlapping. Okay. And this side will match up. Now check it, make sure we can close it. And open. Oh, that shifted a little bit. Let me pull this off. It's shifted. There we go. Like that. Give it a good press. Make sure it's on there really good. And let's close it. Carefully, the first time. There we go. All right. See, nothing on the back. So now we have our front of the card here. When you open it up, sending you lots of love at Christmas. Then when you close it, And you open this, wishing you and those you hold dear a Christmas filled with lots of cheer. Now the only thing we have left to do is to label the sides to tell the recipient that they need to close the card up. Now I'm thinking this is looking a little plain on the side, and I've also gotten some ink on it. So I think I'm going to cover this with something. So let me go grab some things. Alright, so I have this holly embossing folder. I think I'm going to put these papers in here. I should be able to put both of them in here. Like this. And I'm going to run this through my machine. Now this is 2D, so I will need my shim. Alright, so now these are all embossed. I'm going to bring in the Lucky Clover again. And I'll lightly go over this. Just like this. Just to bring the emboss out. There, now you can see it's so much better. You know, I like using these little cubes for that. It's just a little bit more easier to control than using the big cubes. The big squares, I should say. There we go. I'm going to bring in the bronze just to tie it into the gold that's on there. I'm going to go around the edge here, tie this all in. And don't make this very even. I don't want it to look like a line. I just want it to look like a little bit of a dusting on the edge here. Just going to keep going around until I get as much as I want. I'm thinking about that. Do a little more here. Maybe make the corners a little darker. If you get a spot like that that's heavier, just put another heavier spot on there. It'll look like it's intentional. Put another one over here. There's nothing you can do to your card that cannot be fixed. There we go. I think that's good. Bring the card back in. Now we'll put these on either side. I think that's going to make it look a lot more finished. So I have a total of 6 of these 6 3/4 by 2 1/4 panels on here now. Let's see, is there a top and a bottom to this? And the other side. Let's see, that way or this way? I think this way. And put that in the center. Yeah, I think that makes the inside look a lot more finished. Alright, so we have the outside of our card, And I'm just going to leave it like this. I'm not going to bother putting a Merry Christmas, because you could put a Merry and a Christmas here in 2 pieces, but I kind of like the front, so I'm going to leave it empty. Open it up. It says, sending lots of love at Christmas. And then holding you, wishing you and those you hold dear a Christmas filled with lots of cheer. Now, we didn't put the arrows on here. So, let's grab this real quick. See, I'll put it on this way. And we'll put, let's see, which arrow do we want? I think I want to use this thick arrow here. And I am going to place it, I think over here. Right here. Pick that up. Grab the black. Now you absolutely could draw an arrow on there. But I'm going to be brave. Use my arrow. But this little set is nice. Anytime you do an interactive card, it just has all the little pieces. Alright, I don't think I'm going to press my luck with that one anymore. And I will put one over here, about here. Go. And pick that up. And put some ink on that. Press down. And we are done. We have our front of our card, sending lots of love at Christmas with our little arrows. Tell the person to push it in. Then opens up here. Wishing you and those you hold dear a Christmas filled with lots of cheer. There you have it. And if they look on the back, can't see it. Not here. So I hope you enjoyed this card. If you did, please consider subscribing to my channel. And until next time, stay crafty.